Welcome back to another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast. We'd like to remind everybody that nothing on the show is meant as financial advice, and to please do your own research. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Now the subject is NFTs.
They're known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs.
NFTs are exploding in popularity.
This is a technology that will forever change the way people interact.
So it is happening whether you understand it and like it or not.
This phenomenon is moving. The digital.
You have now joined Jenny from the blockchain and Michael Keene on the NFT Catcher Podcast.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the NFT Catcher Podcast with me, Jenny from the blockchain, and my co-host, Michael Keene. For today's interview, we have Iona joining us. She is partnerships at Fair.XYZ, which we've talked about multiple times on the pod, actually. And she is just a funny Twitter person to follow. So, Iona, welcome to the show.
Thanks. I'm a funny girl. What can I say? That's it. That's it.
Yes. And you know what? Speaking of, before we get into how you got started in Web3, which is kind of what we always like to start with, I want to say that the first time I saw you and kind of like heard about you was one of your videos, which maybe you know, once I say this, you're like, oh my God, I've seen those. But basically, you kind of created this series on Fair.XYZ's Twitter where you put these 2-minute videos together. They're really nice, nicely like produced, and they're also really funny. But basically, you're like interviewing popular Web3 people for like an internship at Fair.XYZ, and it's just hilarious, you know, because it's like you're interviewing like Farouk, Rug Radio founder, Wob, the Sappy Seals founder, Lucanet. Those are hilarious. I forget which one was the first one I saw, but I remember seeing it. I'm like, who is this girl? Like, she is hilarious. And yeah, I've been following you ever since. So
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, thank you for that. That means a lot. Yeah, those and I'm sure we'll come up to it like throughout this, but those videos were so much or are so much fun to write and like so much fun to get people involved. And I think the first one was posted when I had something like 300 followers or something. And so people kind of like saw my Twitter afterwards and they're like, who is this? Like, what weirdo is this? Is she a bot? Like, is she real? So yeah, it was a good time, and like I love making them. They're so much fun. Hopefully some more will come out soon. But yeah, that's cool. I like that. That's how you started following me.
Yes, Michael, have you seen the videos? I know you're looking at them
now
right
that
now.
You said it. No, I'm not looking at them now.
I'll send you a link to one.
Your profile, yeah, definitely. I have seen them now that you mentioned it. I remember the Farouk one for sure. Yeah, very clever, very funny. I didn't realize that was you until now. Jenny keeps me in the dark. She's like, "Oh, we're just having someone on."
No, what the heck? Yeah. Come on.
No,
okay, true. I could have refreshed your memory on that.
No. I'm supposed to do my own research. I missed that one. I'm supposed to do my own research.
UIOR, do your own research. Don't you know this is the NFT space?
I know, exactly. She's like rugging me. Come on. We have a superstar creator here, and I don't even know, you know.
I know, yeah. And I definitely want to get into those videos and kind of, I there's a lot that I kind of want to dive into with that, as well as other things too. We got to talk about Fair.XYZ, all that. But let's start with hearing how you first got into the NFT space. How did your journey begin?
Yeah, so first I was working at Facebook, which is now known as Meta. So I was working at Facebook and I really hated it. I was an account manager, so I was managing like fashion brands and art brands, and just big UK brands. And it wasn't for me. It just, I didn't enjoy the day-to-day work, and I didn't enjoy like digital marketing, I guess, as to how Facebook was describing that to me. And so when I was looking to leave, conveniently, Facebook rebranded to Meta. And I was like, oh, what's this whole metaverse thing? And I thought the metaverse was so stupid. I was like, I'm not into this. I'm not into you, Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not into like your vision for the company. I'm not there for it. But then I was talking to some team members about it, and someone brought up NFTs, and I was like, what is that? And I studied art history. So like I'm a trained art historian, and I've also done courses at like Sotheby's Institute of Art. So I studied like art business, art law, and I had my own art business in university. I ran it for 3 years. It was like an art gallery dealership type of thing. And so when this colleague of mine at Facebook was describing what NFTs were, it just felt like all the puzzle pieces were like fitting together. and I was just understanding what he was saying quite quickly and a little bit more quickly than my peers. And I it was just like feeding my ego a bit that I was understanding like a complex subject matter quite quickly. And yeah, I just kind of fell in love with it from there. I really fell down the rabbit hole. I applied to Fair.XYZ because they were advertising a role for a content creator, actually. I literally would have taken anything, quite frankly, to leave Facebook. That's how damn bad I was. But luckily, the three Fair founders liked me. And yeah, I started working at Fair. And I would say I couldn't have even described what NFTs were until about like a month in at Fair. Like, I'm just lucky that they hired me without knowing much about NFTs. But yeah, so, you know, it's a journey. It's a journey still. I'm a year on now. I've literally almost to the day I've been in NFTs for like a year, which is crazy to think about. Like, my life has kind of changed, which sounds like sappy, but whatever. And yeah, that's it. That's the long-winded answer to how I got into NFTs.
There's a lot there that you said that I wanted to kind of touch on, but okay, so yeah, and so you mentioned that you're an art historian, which I think that's super cool. I see in your Twitter bio that you have a master's in art and tech. Is that two separate? Is that one combined master's, or is that like two separate things? Like,
so I went to St Andrews, which is a university in Scotland. So yeah, so my program was art history. That's like what the title is. And then people specialize within that. So for the last 2 years of my university program, I was like specializing in art and technology, but actually in the early modern period. So not even in the 21st century. Like we're in the 21st century. Yeah, not even in the 21st century. Like I was focusing way back. But yeah, it is technically in like the intersection of art and tech. That's my niche, and I would love to do further education one day in that specialty.
That's crazy how it's like,
what kind of tech? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. What kind of tech do you mean? So like tech from like,
I was gonna ask that too. What kind of technology was back then? Like what?
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. I'd like to hear what you
Let me tell you what was around back then. It's the coolest stuff. So basically what I really loved was like the study of visual culture around like the 17th, 16th century, and how knowledge was basically passed on through that visual culture. So around that time, it was the Enlightenment period, like people were discovering crazy stuff, and it became very cool for like the upper classes to know about knowledge. Like knowledge equals power. That was the motto today. That was the motto then. And so that was just represented a lot in art. And specifically what I was focusing on was not only the kind of the spread of that knowledge through visual cultures, so through like books, receipts, labels, really anything like that, but also in something called automatons, which are basically, for lack of a better word, it's like an 18th century robot. And on Monday, I'm actually taking the day off work. Don't tell anyone. I'm taking the day off work to go with my mom to go visit like the little robot I wrote my dissertation on. So I'm really excited. I mean, if anyone's interested, hit me up. I'll send you some academic papers. I still read them for fun. I literally sometimes fall asleep. This is really weird. And like, I probably shouldn't tell people this, but I do sometimes fall asleep to like my old lectures because they were recorded because it was COVID. That's it. Like, I just love it.
What a nerd.
Something's wrong with me, but something's wrong with everyone if they're in NFTs, in my opinion. So
facts. That's amazing. You're basically, you're like, I mean, it seems to me like it's, you know, what is that one where it's like, okay, to master something, you have to really put in like 10,000 hours of like learning. And it feels like to me that you really want to master learning about art and tech.
Yeah, that's such a good reference, actually, that 10,000 hour rule. I think that's in a book called like Black Box Thinking I think it's called, I forget what it's called, but I think it's by Matt Haig or something. No, Matthew Syed. I think that's it. But no, the 10,000 hour rule, I'm like very hard on myself actually about making sure I know subjects like through and through. And I think it's a little bit of a personality fault, to be honest. I think I get like obsessive over topics, and like obviously like I love NFTs and I love the tech behind it and I love the art behind it. When people say like they're in it for the art, like I kind of am, to be like I really am for like the art and the artist, and that was my kind of gateway drug into it all. But no, I really want to be a thought leader in that space, in like the art and tech space, and NFTs is a great way to do that.
What do you like about NFTs? Like, what kind of really drew you in?
So first I hated them. First I was like, this doesn't, I was just like everyone else. I was just like every other normie. I was just like, nah, it doesn't make sense. Like, why would you want, like the classic, why would you want to buy something you can't hold? Why would you want to, like, what do you do with a JPEG? You can just right click save as. And I was like, yeah, why would anyone do that? And then when I learned about it, I kind of repositioned it in my head as just another tool for creatives to express their creativity. And I come from a creative family. Like I wouldn't consider myself an artist. I love to write and I love to do like other creative things. But I've always been very passionate about artists and like their psychology. And when I just viewed NFTs as like a way for artists to not only create in a really interesting mechanism, but to also sell things and make money in a new and authentic way, I was like, this is actually incredible, and this could really be something useful for people I know and for people I love. So yeah, that's really what drew me into it was the art, and that's kind of what keeps me going is like the incredible artists that I meet every day.
That's awesome. And yeah, I think this is a good segue for you work at Fair.XYZ, which, like I said, we have talked about it a couple times on the pod. Michael is a fan of the site. And I'd love to hear from you, because I don't know, I haven't really looked at the site recently, so I don't know if you guys have changed things up or what, but I'd love to hear what is Fair.XYZ for those who don't know, and maybe like what you guys are currently working on.
Yeah, well, first of all, that's great that you guys have talked about it organically on the pod. Like, oof, okay, guys, don't flatter me too much. But no, so Fair.XYZ is a no-code NFT creation platform. That's what it is. And there's a lot of no-code platforms out there now. That's not really revolutionary. But what makes us really cool is that we're like the fair option for artists. So what that means is that when you log onto our site, which has actually had a little bit of a revamp recently, it's very smooth. The process of creating like end-to-end experiences is seamless. So what you do is you get onto the platform, you log in with your wallet like any other platform, and then you're prompted to create either a 10K collection or like one-of-one art, open editions, airdrop, things like that. And what you don't realize you're doing as you go through the flow is you're building your own smart contract. So it's not like other platforms where you might log on and you're prompted with what type of smart contract you want in the beginning. It's more of like, it really is like a Web 2 user journey that we've adapted for Web 3. So we're doing all the hard, heavy smart contract coding in the background, creating your own customized smart contract while you just basically drag and drop a JPEG and click a couple buttons, and it's your own minting page. And yeah, it's a wonderful place to work. Like I have the best team ever. We actually just came back from an offsite in Marrakesh where we basically planned the next kind of chapter of the company. So we're about to enter really, really interesting chapters. So that's all I'll say about it, because there's not much I can say about it. But we want to be like the number one destination for artists and creators to come. And if, we could create the next People, or if we could create the next, Bored Ape Yacht Club, then that would be a dream come true for us. So that's kind of what we are.
Michael, I feel like you have some questions.
Yeah, well, I want to ask about Morocco now, because you just threw in Marrakesh all quick, but that's
Michael's a world traveler. He loves talking
Morocco
about traveling.
Is really high on our bucket list, and there's a flight from Miami to Casablanca now.
Well, Michael, you gotta get on that flight.
I know. I need to just book it and go. It was hot though. I will tell you that. Yep.
I'm not good in the heat. Like, I don't know if you can tell. I'm a cold girl. That's what I prefer in life. It was 47 degrees Celsius, which I think is around 100.
That's really hot. Yeah.
It was like I was melting, and I actually got a spray tan to go because I'm pathetic and like I don't tan, and I couldn't like bear being in front of my colleagues who are like my friends. Like there's no, I don't know, but I just couldn't bear being like so pale and disgusting. So I got the spray tan. It was melting off. It was melting off by the second day.
No,
I have like melting marks on me. It's not even funny. But yeah, so if you want to go to Marrakesh, don't get a spray tan, Michael.
Don't go in the summer.
I'm going to say, yeah. Okay, number one, don't get a spray tan, because Michael, you have a big...
Well, I'm definitely not going to get a spray tan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Michael's pretty tan.
Yeah, I get a nice
Michael,
one.
you look pretty tan. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
I need the tanning oil you've got going on, because it's not on me.
This is the Florida sun. This is the Florida sun.
Well, it'll do that, won't it? It'll do that.
Yeah, it will.
Gotta get down to Florida.
It will. The Sunshine State.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's fun. So you got to go to, was that your first time there?
No, I actually went last year to Marrakesh. So it was my second time.
Nice.
But yeah, a very fun place. A very fun place.
High on my bucket list. I want to go. There's a lot of Chef Shawan. There's a lot of really cool cities I want to go check out. But we can go back to Fair.XYZ because I'll break off into travel rants and go for a while. So how does it work so if somebody creates a 10K collection, how does the fee structure work?
Great question. So we're 100% free to use. We take 0% of primary sales and we take 0% of your secondary sales. That's why we're called Fair. That's what I always say on the call when I'm kind of pitching it. How we make our money, for full transparency, and there's like a thread about this somewhere on our Twitter. How we make our money is through just a service fee. It's just a flat service fee. It's around, depending on gas, $1.20.
Right. Charge the buyer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
We go straight to that collector. But it really, it's how we keep the lights on. We want to keep things as kind of optimized and as accessible as possible for people. That's really our goal. So yeah, we decided we used to take 6% of primary sales when we first entered the market. But we removed that because we did want to make it like just more accessible for people. So that's it. That's the fee.
Yeah. Well, can anybody launch anytime they want?
Anybody, anytime, anywhere, any place is open.
Do you find an issue with people launching free 10,000 collections just to hope to get some sales or get some traction? Like a lot of them. Is there any issues like that?
Yes. Yes. That's a great point to bring up, because when I first started at Fair, again, not knowing about NFTs, I was kind of pitching this product in a very salesy way, in a very like Facebook, how they train you to do sales, like a very salesy way to brands. So I was pitching to massive brands who thought it was a cool product and like, nice, like it looks really sick, but what's an NFT? That was kind of the conversation we would have. So I quickly realized, okay, you're not the market we're going to focus on right now. We're going to go for crypto degens. Like that's it. And I didn't have a Twitter at this point. So I didn't know how these people really operated. And I didn't really understand the community effort behind it. I didn't understand what a pump and dump was. I didn't understand really like anything. And so I had definitely a few like very strange conversations in the beginning with me trying to like formally not sell because it wasn't like I was making commission or anything, because that's not how I roll. But I was just kind of showing people this product, and I'd talk to people who didn't care. They just wanted to get their stuff online, get their stuff on the platform, go, quick, pump and dump, leave. There was no customer loyalty. There was no like nuanced conversation about art. Like it was a very transactional relationship in the beginning. We provided a service. The service was completed. They gave great feedback. So a lot of our early days of forming the product relied on that type of feedback. And so that's why now I think that our 10K collection generator is really incredible, because it relies off of just really hardcore kind of no filtered feedback from its earliest users. And that kind of still lives on in our Discord. So people go to our Discord to ask questions, just chat. So a big part of my job, I spend 2 hours a day doing this. I put it in my schedule to answer any Discord questions. So usually those come from people making 10K collections. So people who aren't doxxed. So I'll have to get on Discord calls, or I'll have to get on, like anonymous calls with them and help them launch their collections. But I still have those conversations pretty frequently. And it's a very different conversation to the conversations I now have with open edition artists and one-of-one artists and things like that, because there's a little bit more nuance there, and there's a little bit more of a artistic element to it.
And when you said you can do airdrops also, is there like a function where you can go in and basically say, I'd like to airdrop this piece to everybody that has certain NFT? Like, can you do it by contract or something like that? Okay.
Yes. Actually, a really cool. So airdrops, yes, 100%. But I think what really sets Fair apart, and this is a feature that is exclusive to Fair, and it was built by our engineers and our product team. It's called conditions to buy. So again, there's a thread about it somewhere, or a few threads about it now. But basically what conditions to buy is a way where you can access gate your mint. So whether it be a one-of-one, whether it be an open edition, whether it be a 10K collection, you can create limits for people to mint. So a couple of my favorite ones are like, okay, you can only be in this Discord in order to mint, or you have to know this passcode in order to mint, and you have to unfollow MisoSoupQueen on Twitter in order to mint, and you have to follow, someone else on Twitter. So there's like so many fun mechanisms that you can kind of play with, and it is like and/or rules, so you can get really weird with it. So yeah, like we have like all of those type of fun little spice you can add to things.
That is really cool. When you do an airdrop, and then I'll get off of it, but you must have to pay the gas, I presume.
Yeah. So
if you're sending them out. Right.
Exactly. So none of that fee, but that's like one of the biggest complaints I get is people are like, oh, I don't want to pay a gas fee. And I'm like, no one does.
Right.
No one
No
We're
one
on
loves to pay gas.
So I'm sorry, but like that's the way the cookie crumbles. But yeah, no, we don't cover gas fees, unfortunately. I wish we did. If it was my world, maybe we would. But no, we don't cover gas fees, and we don't take any of it, obviously. So it is just standard
cool.
standard thing.
Yep. Very cool. And we can move on. I'll go back to Jen. I got one more question for you, unless you want to keep going with Fair.XYZ, but I had one about a tweet you made yesterday.
Oh, no. What tweet?
Oh, controversy.
No. The OPEPing you made. That kind of looks like your profile, but it's like, but it's just the colors, like the red from your sweater or whatever.
Yeah, I see this.
Is there like a program to make those, or
you want the insider info?
Yes, yeah. I see everybody doing this, and like I can't do it. I got to color match every color. I'm like, what's going on here?
That was just me scrolling through Twitter, and I had the same thought. I was like, is everyone learning Photoshop to like do this?
Right.
Like what's going on? And then literally, I forget the URL. It's something like opepin.customize.com. It's like someone.
Yeah, nobody go to opepin.customize.com.
Sorry,
Let's find the real link.
I'm not trying to drain anyone. That's not like my debater
website. Yeah.
Oh, so don't go there. But there is someone brilliant has created very, very quickly, I might add, very quickly.
I need to find that. I
will try to look and DM you, but
okay.
Literally, you just drag and drop a JPEG in, and then you press a button. It generates something that looks vaguely like your color palette you want.
It's sick.
Great. It's a great tool. Yeah. I go right in.
I definitely want to do that. You don't follow me. That's messed up. That's really messed up.
Ooh, look, the first thing I'm going to do after this is hit that follow button.
Okay,
That's
good.
the first thing I'm going to do.
And then find that link.
And then I'm going to give you a little thanks for having me. You were so fun. Here's a XOXO.
You're so funny. Yeah, I got you.
I'm so quirky. Oh, wait, you mean you're so quirky? Yeah.
I said funny. I didn't say
it's that Florida. It's that Florida boy. It's that Florida boy energy I'm getting.
I think so.
I think I found it, but I don't want to say it unless it's not, in case it's not legit. Well, opepin.studio. I think it might be that.
If it's like a black screen with like
black screen, literally
that's it.
Yeah. But not to brag, Michael, but someone actually made me one. I didn't even have to generate.
I'm not surprised. You don't have to brag. Like,
but I didn't even change my PSP.
I'm not surprised at all. I'm surprised you don't have like someone. I'm surprised someone didn't do like the Thread Guy Open Edition for you. And, like...
It was the Flunks on Slow. They made me one. They made Evaluate one. And then we changed our PSP at Evaluate.
So they made it with like the pastel colors from your doodle.
Yeah, I gotta show you mine.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah,
really cool.
So that's the latest trends.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Here, I'll show you.
Oh, that's
sick with the hard. They did a real nice one.
Oh, that's
I know.
Yeah, that's not like that's really nice. That's like
real.
One of the that's one of the better ones I've seen.
Maybe I should change my profile pic to it. You guys are hyping it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question not about Fair anymore, unless Michael, you have any more questions about Fair.
We're good.
Okay. I guess it's kind of related to Fair, but so back to the videos that we were talking about in the very beginning of this episode that you created. I'm curious to hear more. I'm curious to hear, what kind of sparked that idea. And also who is your favorite interview, or maybe just like who is the most like fun to work with, or that like kind of surprised you? Like, do you have any, insight?
And the insider, I got some hot gossip for you. I got some.
Oh, let's go. Okay.
Okay. So the Intern series, that's what we call it internally. We never really gave it a name, but
it's called
the Intern series. So basically, I came up with the idea when quite shortly after I started my Twitter. So I started my Twitter in like September or something of last year, so almost a year now. I think I had a Twitter before, but I started getting in the rabbit hole around like September or so. And I just realized that there were so many cool personalities kind of popping off, but like no real like outlet in terms, like it was its own world. I think I was just shocked at how much of Web3 is its own ecosystem and its own world, and it has its own drama, it has its own advertisements, it has its own influencers. And so what was missing to me was like a video component. And I hadn't seen like, I didn't know who K Money was or anything. Like I didn't know who Thread Guy was. I didn't know like people were like kind of putting some visual stuff out, and I didn't even know what a Twitter Spaces was. Like I was pretty clueless going into it, which I think looking back is now a benefit, because if I had known that there was actually like quote unquote like competition to like win attention, probably wouldn't have done it. But basically, I noticed that there was, okay, great personalities. I also noticed that there were some people who had some very big egos, and I was like, who's bringing these egos down? Like these are a bunch of like like these guys are cool, but like they think they're like hot stuff. Like who's gonna bring them down a little bit? And so I've always
humble them.
Who's gonna humble guys? I'm not gonna name names, but I'm saying who's gonna humble all of these guys, slash girls. Anyway, so I originally pitched it as a dating series to my bosses. So I kind of, yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, like I've seen those on YouTube, like the chicken lady and stuff.
Exactly.
Like...
And like she's a big inspiration for it for sure. So I really like her. Her name is Amelia de Moldenberg, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. She's like she's huge in London. Like all my friends love her. I'm very into Zach Galifianakis. I'm very into who does the Between Two Ferns. I think that's hilarious. I really like Caleb, whatever his last name is, from Barstool Sports. Like,
yeah.
Caleb. I love, and I'm awkward. I'm like hiding it right now kind of well. I'm like an awkward girl. Like if you meet me in real life, I'm a little fucking, I'm not sorry. I'm a little weird. So I was kind of like, I said to my bosses, I've got this idea. And I made like a one-sheeter. I like took them into a room and I was like, guys. I made a one-sheeter. I put my face on it and I put Wob's face on it. I just chose Wob because I knew Wob from, we like met at a party. So I knew who he was, and I knew he was like, he had like some followers. Obviously he has a lot of followers, but I was like, he's like vaguely interesting. So I put his like face on there. I put Amelia de Moldenberg's face on there. I put Zach Galifianakis' face on there. And then I wrote this description of me taking out like Web3 or like project founders on dates, and I would just kind of grill them on a date. And my bosses were like, okay, yeah, no, like no way are we gonna like pimp you out, basically. Like we're like
that would be fun too though.
Yeah, I know, right? Like what the heck? But no, they were like, no, Iona, like we're not gonna set you up on dates. Like that, we're protecting you. We're not doing that. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So I went back to the drawing board a little bit, and I pulled in the marketing lead too. And I was like, okay, I have this idea. I think it's going to be cool. I want to do video content only made for like just the community, just like our inside jokes, just like celebrate that. What can we do? And so we workshopped it a little bit together. And with him, we developed the idea of like being an intern, because I think this was like a thing before I was into Web3, but apparently that used to be a thing where you would say like, I'm the intern of some big company. Okay, cool. You're nodding. So I'm assuming that's correct. But yeah, so we turned it into like the intern series where MisoSoupQueen as like the character, which is basically just myself, but the awkward kind of true version of myself, would talk to these project founders. And the first episode we did was with Wob, so Wob.ETH from Sappy Seals in November. I remember it was November because it was the week of my birthday, and I was super hungover for the first episode. And I remember thinking like, oh, no, like I ruined it. I'm so hungover, like I'm gonna vomit, like this is so bad. And I wrote out a script. Basically, the script was just me asking questions. And I'm quite good at like preempting what people are going to say if I know their personality. So I do like a little bit of research on the person. So I was pretty into seals at that point. Like don't think I had a seal, but I knew some seals. And so I kind of knew the inside jokes. I kind of got it. I understood who Wob was. It's like very easy. We made him show up in a suit because we thought that'd be funny. He actually did. And we didn't think he would. But yeah, we sat down, we did the episode. They're all in one take, which I don't know if people realize. Like, there's no retakes. It's not 2 shots or anything. It's literally just one. And it's me with the script. And then the marketing lead is actually doubles as the cameraman and the sound guy. So he runs back and forth and like tries to get all the shots perfect. So it's pretty hectic. The room gets hot. I'm usually sweating. And yeah, that's kind of the flow of it.
I love that. And this is in London, right? Like you
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's in London. So it's in the office. We just do it in the office, except for the 2 episodes I did with Farouk and Luca. That was in Paris, just because we were all in Paris at the same time.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, you still didn't give me juicy gossip about any individual interviewee.
Look, okay, I'm gonna give you the gossip now. Wob was 2 hours late. That's the gossip on Wob.
That's a lot of that. That's a long time to be late.
That's a long time.
2 hours.
If he listens to this, like between all of us here, maybe it was like 1 hour or something. In my mind, I remember it's 2 hours. He did show up in a suit. The first thing I say in the interview is that his hands were sweaty. That was a lie. My hands were sweaty. I was the one sweaty. And I remember trying not to laugh as hard as I could when there's like part of the interview, he has to create this seal out of Play-Doh. And I remember just like looking at him creating this awful piece of clay. And I was like, in my head, I was like, this is so bad. This is so bad. Like, this is not ever, this is going to be, we're not going to air this.
I like when people laugh. Like Luca, who is awesome, we had him on the pod, like love him, but he didn't even like crack a slight smile, like barely. Like, he didn't even laugh, and I'm like, what the heck? Like laugh, like or like Farouk. I liked his because he laughed a lot. Like I just love that. I love seeing people laugh. Like
that is my goal for. I think someone recently actually on a space has asked me like how I do, like what my kind of thought process is when I'm in the moment. My only goal. I kind of throw the script out the window when I need to. So Luca's a perfect example. So my goal is to make people laugh. Luca's hard to make laugh. Maybe he just, I don't know. I just found him hard.
Trying to be all serious, but also funny. But you know,
yeah, he was like trying not to fall under my charm, but like it didn't work because basically I was like going through the script. I'd written out questions. I don't know much about Luca, and I didn't have much time to prepare because, just like I was very busy. So I remember halfway through reading down the questions with him, and he hadn't laughed yet, and I was like,
yeah,
I gotta put this aside, put the script aside, and I gotta think of something now. Otherwise, I'm gonna be pretty disappointed in myself. And so I ended up bringing up something about Wob. Actually, I think I said like, I don't even know if it made the end cut, but I think I said like, how does it feel to carry like the whole cute PFP community on your back? He cracked up, and I remember thinking like, ooh, random one to crack up on, Luca, but okay, you go off. So yeah, I got him to giggle a little bit there. Got him to laugh at something else I think I asked, which didn't make the cut, which I won't say because I'm not going to say that one. But yeah, I did get him to laugh a couple of times, and he was. I
thought these were one cut, no cuts.
No,
what is going away?
Let me explain to you. Let me explain to you, Michael.
Okay.
I sit down. The opposing force sits down. Okay, we do the thing, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That there's no like, oh, Iona, can you go back and say a funnier joke? That doesn't happen. It's literally just one take, and then it gets given. Well, as in, I just give it to the marketing lead, who is ex-UG. He's also a brilliant filmmaker. So his name's Jack. I call him Boomer Jack in Spaces.
I think I had a meeting with Jack once. Like I feel like I remember.
Oh my god, he told me because I was like, guys, guess what? Blockchain is like interviewing, and they're like, oh yeah, we had a meeting with her. I was like, but no, so Boomer Jack. So he then edits, and then we just go through this back and forth. We're super good creatively together. So he does one pass of an edit, sends it to me, says, what do you want killed? I send him exact marks of. I'm super precise. I'll watch it literally 100 times. I'll send him, okay, 0 frame 1 needs to be deleted. Okay, can you replace 0 to 016 with like 032 to 042? So it's like that process for like 2 days or so, back and forth, and then it gets given life on Twitter with the final.
So when is the next one? Because the last one was in like March or something.
I know. The last one was
what's happening, you guys? Come on, we need more content.
I've put the feelers out because I'm the one who like gets the people to like come on.
And they have to be in London to be fair. So that's the
thing. They have to be in London, or I have to be where they are. But that's quite complicated because I don't know where I can get certain camera equipment that we use, like blah blah blah. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm open to suggestions. If the amount of DMs I've sent where I'm like, if you're passing through London, like would love to interview you, and they're like, okay, maybe, and I'm like, shit.
I know Praxy's in London.
Oh, Praxy. They'll never do it. They'll never do it.
Look, you say this. You say they'll never do it, and then
right.
Well, it's just because they're completely anonymous. No one's ever seen their face. That's the only thing. But hey, you maybe
mask or something.
I did. I pitched for the longest time. I pitched for Pons from the Plague to do it, and he was like, I think he was kind of tempted, but he's not officially doxxed. So yeah, he refused. But yeah, no. I hope there's a couple that come out. There will be a couple that come out. It will sunset one day. as in I will retire that kind of role one day. I do want to continue to create video content. I just think it's so fun. I thought I went to I thought I was going to be a filmmaker when I was younger. So I love film. I originally applied to universities for a film major. So I love doing it. I love to write. I like to be stupid. I was about to say I love to act. It's not acting, it's literally me. But yeah.
You're very creative. You like to create.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ways.
And I do want to kind of create something one day that's a little bit more of a direct value to the ecosystem. Because I think like the Intern series is a fun kind of way for us all to laugh at it ourselves and for us to kind of be a little bit joyful, be a little bit like proud of like the inside jokes. Because I think there's a lot of kind of community that develops from inside jokes that kind of get dropped in the Intern series. But yeah, I do want to create something one day that's a little bit more direct value. And I don't know what that'll look like yet. But yeah,
I love that. Some edutainment, Yeah, you should have a YouTube channel. I think we had talked about this too over
yes,
DMs.
I slid into your DM. I think that's how the conversation went.
You slid into mine. I swear I slid into yours. Did you actually?
I'm pretty sure I slid in and I was like, hey, Jenny.
I was probably so excited.
I think I was like, I just want to say you're sick. Like, you got a good vibe. Because I think I watched.
Yeah. I was like, OMG. I was like so excited that you messaged me. You said you're a big fan of my content. I used to make a lot of videos. I've been kind of a bit MIA on Twitter the last couple months, but I like making video content too. It's fun. The vlogs are fun. Used to do like the weekly updates, all that. It's definitely a grind. It's definitely a commitment.
It's definitely a commitment. And I think like I really liked watching your vlogs. And I think I've like threatened my friends, like my IRL friends, that like I would start a vlog series, and they're like, Iona, please don't.
Hey, you should. Well, yeah. I mean, I still do those if I go to events. There just hasn't been events happening that recently, but they're fun because it's like it's a great way to kind of remember like what happened, because I feel like there's always so much going on. You always run into so many people. You're like, wait, and I'm good about like I'm in the moment. I'm like, wait, like be in my vlog. Like I'm very like I'm always thinking about the vlog like when I'm like doing events. So it's like it's helpful. But okay, one thing I did also want to go back to was you working at Meta. I mean, what was that like? I'm very curious. Like I've never worked for a big company. I work right now for Evaluate.XYZ. There's 9 of us, small startup. And then really before that, I was, full-time content creator and then really just like serving at restaurants and stuff. So I'm kind of curious how corporate works, and especially Meta. I've seen a lot of stuff about Google and how, they have all these fun things, really trying to create the culture, whatever. But what was it like working at Meta?
Yeah, good question. So I have so many different kind of answers to this. So Meta was my first job. So I was a university student and I was self-employed, I guess, because I did have my own online art dealership. But I wouldn't really consider that work because it was more of like a passion project that just happened to do like financially well. So yeah, Meta was my first real job. And it was kind of like being first of all, I was in Dublin. So I'm not from Dublin, I'm from London. So none of my friends or family were there. I found it a little bit like, it's quite a small city. London's a big city. I also went to like international school. So I got kind of thrown into this small city where everyone knew each other. And I was like, this isn't my vibe. Like I dress a little bit quirky. You can't really tell because I'm wearing a black t-shirt, but like I dress a little bit weird. And like, I like to have, I don't know, I'm just weird and I didn't fit in. Is basically the bottom line. But Facebook, I'll refer to it as Facebook just because that's just easier for me. But Facebook was interesting because first job, so you join with a massive cohort, and that's kind of cool because I had maybe like 20 other people who were in like just out of university, all starting our first jobs together. Real sense of like camaraderie behind it. We all had like our first paycheck. It was like a nice paycheck too. I was given so much responsibility, which I'm really grateful for. Like I was managing a very large portfolio, like multiple figures of, I think, 30 to 40 clients, all who were big names in the UK. I won't say them, I don't know if there's any, if I'm allowed to, but yeah, I won't say them. And that was really cool. I was really excited about that. And basically my role there was to generate just ad revenue. So just kind of encourage people to spend more on Facebook. I think it's a great place to learn the basics of business and the basics of marketing. I had an incredible manager who I still talk to, like we still hang out. They set you up with a buddy. I have an incredible buddy who I still actually lean on for advice. So I was really given important tools that I think people pick up in like MBAs or in master programs that specify on business kind of entrepreneurship things. But it was a great masterclass in how to conduct a client meeting, how to negotiate, how to send emails professionally. Just it was really good for that. For me, I just didn't fit in culturally. I was not a good culture fit. I think I was too opinionated. And this is just what I think about. I was never told this. I just think I was a little bit too opinionated. It's very like you do what you're told. There's not much room for creativity. So I really struggled with that I couldn't be creative in my role. I couldn't be funny in my emails. I just couldn't be myself, I guess. And I raised that with my manager a few times. And again, I just had an incredible manager. I don't know if it's like this across the board, but I raised this with my manager a few times and she tried her best to help me. I'll give them that. They do try to help you a lot if you don't think you fit in. But yeah, my gut told me pretty quickly that it wasn't the role for me. Account management is fun, but it wasn't adventurous enough for me. Like I think I said earlier, like digital marketing, I wasn't like right now I spend hours on Twitter just and also online just thinking about NFTs, thinking about Web3, really impressed by everyone around me and everything I see. At Facebook, I can't say the same. I wasn't impressed by, this might sound harsh, I wasn't impressed by like the people above me. I didn't aspire to be like, besides my manager, I didn't aspire to be like other managers. I didn't aspire to be in the role that I would have gotten promoted into. It just didn't feel like I was walking into a room and being inspired. It felt like I was walking into a room and my energy was being like sucked out for me and I was just like a corporate drone. Oops. And some people really love that. Like one of my best friends at Facebook, she openly said to me, I love this because it's boring. I love this because like that's and I was like, girly pop, go off queen. Like that is so good that you find that for yourself. But like, it's not me. Like I don't want to be someone who wakes up, goes to work at 9, shuts my laptop at 5, plays some table tennis because they had cool table tennis tables. I'll give them that. But you know, I don't want to like get home at 6 and like make dinner with like, do you know what I mean? So I just prefer to work 24/7 and whether that's I don't really care. I prefer to work 24. Like I'm working right now. Like after this, I'll go back to work. Like I like it. That's what gives me joy. And so yeah, it wasn't the place for me. But I'll say if people like don't know what to do in their life, and I feel like I did kind of know what I wanted to do. But if people don't know what they want to do, a big tech company is a really great place to get some basic foundations and learn what you like and don't like, because it requires a certain type of person, I think, to work in big tech. And there's no shame in liking a 9 to 5. There's absolutely no shame in that. I have so many friends who love it. But yeah, for me, it wasn't the place for me.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of people listening can probably resonate with that. You know, Web3, we're different. We're not part of pop culture. Like we're the alternative. Although now it's become a lot more popular, but still, I think most people still are like NFT. Like my friend the other day, somebody that I was friends with 3 years ago, because every year I move states. So it was when I lived in Florida. Maybe that was 2 or 3 years ago. She reached out. She's like, hey, I just wanted to check in with you. Like, how are you doing? Like, what are you up to? And I said, oh, NFTs. And she was like, what? Like, what's NFTs? Like, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's still people that don't know what NFTs are. Like, I always forget that. But yeah, we are kind of coming towards a close here on the hour. Michael, do you have any last minute questions before we go into our final segment?
Sure. I'll ask one more. You're into art history. If are there any artists that you really like in the space you want to give a shout out to? I like to give people a chance. If there's anybody, put you on the spot a little bit, but
no, that's absolutely fine. Cool. I'm gonna give. How many am I gonna give out? How many space am I gonna give out? I'm gonna give 3. One
awesome.
is Defaced or Defaced. I say Defaced, even though that's not how you say it. We're friends for life. I think his art's brilliant. And he's just been a great friend recently. So he gets that spot.
Very cool.
Second is Bear Boy, BHAREBOY. I am obsessed with his art. I found him a while ago, just like creeping through people on Twitter, which is all I do. And I love his art. I think it's so, the color palette he chooses is really interesting. And I just think he's worth checking out. He's just a cool guy. And I love speaking to him. So I've spoken to him a few times about Fair, and he's just lovely to chat to. Like I would love to be his friend. IRL if that friendship were extended to me. I don't know if it happened.
Awesome.
I feel that way towards people sometimes. I'm like,
yeah, if
I
he
would like to be their friend, they probably don't want to be mine, but you know.
Exactly. Like if he said, Iona, do you want to be my friend? I'd be like, oh my God.
Yes.
That's how I feel about Bear Boy. And then I think I'll give the third spot maybe to an artist I discovered through recommendation, I think from Defaced, Thomas Stokes the third. He just launched on Fair. He had a sellout collection. I was so happy for him. He's a beautiful, beautiful painter, and I think he uses oil and acrylic. I think that's what he uses. And when I first met him, he was so sweet, and I didn't really know what to expect. It's just on his iPhone, and I sound like a boomer. Like, it was just on his phone, and he like showed me around his studio, and I was like, oh my God, this is so sweet. And he posts these videos on, I think he does it more on Instagram, but he posts when he like varnishes his paintings, and which is just like a stunning thing. I think he sells all of his NFTs with physicals as well. I think he's quite young too. I think he's maybe I don't know how old. I think he's early 20s maybe. But no, like he's an incredible technical artist. So those are my three, all very different artists. But yeah, those are my three faves right now.
Love that.
Nice. Cool. Michael will be looking into them after this.
Yeah, I already knew Defaced. I knew. I'm familiar with Defaced, but not the other two.
Nice. They're cool. Yeah. They're all great. They're all great.
Awesome. I love it. Always love learning about new artists. I love it.
Okay, so our last segment we have here is Gas Wars, where we ask 5 rapid fire questions each, not necessarily related to Web3. And it's just a fun little way to kind of wrap up and end the show. So I guess I'll go first. Okay. What is one of your hobbies?
What are my hobbies? I have a lot of like hidden hobbies I'm not going to share with the internet right now. I love to write, like WRITE. I love to write.
Nice.
Okay, nice.
Favorite TV or movie villain?
Oh my God, Villanelle from Killing Eve. I was compared to her last night. She's my favorite.
I don't know what that is.
When you look it up, you'll be like, wow, this is...
Okay.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be either a pop star or I wanted to be a director, like a film director.
Ooh. Oh yeah, you did say you're into like film.
What is your favorite family tradition?
Ooh, my family's so weird. Favorite family... Oh, we play this game. It's quite normal in the UK. We play this game called the Cardboard Box Game, which is basically... Have you heard of it?
Nope.
Yeah, I haven't. No.
Okay. That's because... Yeah, okay, cool. But basically, the Cardboard Box Game is when you have a cardboard box, like a cereal box, you take turns and you try to rip off the top layer of the cardboard box by only using your teeth. And you have to until the cardboard box is completely dead. Not COVID friendly. I'll tell you that. We played it in COVID and we all looked at each other and we were like, this probably isn't a good idea. I'm one of 5 kids.
Doing the top of a cardboard box.
So random. That's so funny. I went in the UK like, oh yeah, we play that too. Like,
yeah.
They probably are. Like, that's like not even like an interesting fact.
I had a lot of UK jokes going through my head, but I'm gonna pass.
You could share them. You could. I went to high school in America, so like they
were like teeth jokes, right? Isn't that a typical?
Dude, my
thing?
teeth are so bad. My teeth are so bad.
No, you actually have good teeth. Like your teeth are good.
You actually have teeth.
Yeah, actually, compared to everybody else,
for like a UK person, like your teeth are good.
That's because I went on. No, that's because I went on Invisalign.
Wow.
I know this is a quick fire, but I did go to high school in America and I got like teased because my teeth were ugly. They were ugly. So I went on Invisalign because I was insecure and like a sheep. And then I actually stopped my Invisalign early because I thought my teeth were quote unquote turning too American because they were turning too nice.
What the heck?
I know. So I stopped
turning to American.
And so I have one gap here. I'm gonna close it up. I'm done with it now. I'm gonna close it up. But yeah, that's my British trait is that one gap.
Wow.
That is funny. So your favorite family tradition is... All I know is your favorite family tradition is chewing cardboard. So
that's it.
Cool.
That's what you need to know.
We'll move on to the next one. Yeah, apparently.
That was a good question, Michael.
Yeah.
Apparently. Okay. So, what's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Best piece of advice I've ever gotten.
Or maybe like just a favorite one that kind of stands out in your mind.
There's this one quote I've been seeing quite recently, which is like feel the fear and do it anyway. That's probably my favorite one right now. That applies a lot to my life right now.
Love that.
What's your favorite museum?
The Musée d'Orsay in Paris is my favorite museum because it has the best impressionist collection. Yes, that's my favorite museum. It's a great museum.
Cool. What's your favorite piece there? Out of curiosity, or at least what do you really like seeing? Yeah,
there's this piece by Gustave Caillebotte, and it's called The Floor Scrapers, and it is just this stunning piece from. I don't think he's considered an impressionist. Actually, he might be slightly after, but it's just a stunning piece of like a bunch of these guys scraping the floors, and his attention to details very, very beautiful, and it's quite a large piece as well, which is always nice. Big paintings.
Cool.
Oh, what's your favorite thing to eat for breakfast?
I have the same breakfast every single morning. And I've had breakfast for years every single morning. I have a bowl of yogurt, and then, depending on my mood, I put in honey, a little bit of granola, and some chocolate. That's my breakfast.
Oh, some chocolate for breakfast.
I have chocolate every morning. Every morning. That's probably not good. That's probably why I have bad teeth. Like, whatever.
What? From the chocolate? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it.
Jenny's saying it's the G's. Jenny's getting herself in trouble here with all these teeth.
No, what am I saying that's bad? I said nothing bad.
Canceled.
No, you know what? I had really. If you guys saw my teeth, first of all, when I was 16 years old, my canines were still baby teeth. You know how embarrassing that is?
No, I can one up you because when I was like 12, they were like, "Oh, Iona, your canines aren't gonna grow it, or your canine adult teeth are about to come in. We're gonna have to remove them all." And I was like, "That doesn't make sense," but okay. They removed all 4 of my canines. So for the entire year of being 12, I had no teeth here where your canines are supposed to be.
4. Okay,
4.
So a lot.
First of all, I was ugly as a kid. Second of all, that's why I'm so funny now. Second of all, like I had no teeth, and then I learned how to whistle through that gap. So now I can whistle through that random gap. Anyway, you guys 12-year-old me with a different.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess that does what I mean because I only had 2 missing teeth, but I was 16, so that's also kind of like high school, like trying to be all cool, but now I have 2 missing teeth, like and a gap, and braces and like chains hanging down, like
there's a lot going on.
So
there's a lot going on when you're 16, and that doesn't help. I'm going to tell you that.
That does not help. Yeah.
That is funny.
I don't even know who asked the last question. Actually.
You did. You asked. That was the breakfast question.
Oh,
punks or apes?
Oh my god, like punks. I guess.
Okay. It's becoming everyone's answering punks. It's almost
really. Yeah, I guess.
Everyone's answering punks.
I've seen more fun punks on the timeline recently.
Yeah.
I'll give it to punks.
All right, my last question. This is one of my favorite questions to ask. But what's a book that you've read that's changed your life?
It's my favorite book still. It's called The Elegance of the Hedgehog by Muriel Barberry. And it changed my life because I read it. It was a signed reading in my senior year of high school. I forget how old you are. 18, obviously, in that year. So when I was 18, I read this book. I was in AP English, bit of a flex, but okay. In AP English, we would either read that book and then also a different book. And so we run around in the circle, and my teacher was like, okay, raise your hand if you preferred Elegance of the Hedgehog over whatever the other book was. I was the only one that raised my hand. And I remember just reading the book, loving it, and it really resonated with me. And I thought it was so interesting and complex, and like answered questions I had asked myself before. And literally the rest of the class, everyone just like was being so rude about that book. And then I developed this whole thing about, oh my God, like, am I weird? Blah, blah, blah. It gave me a lot of like existential crisis questions. I love that book. I return to it every year. Like I have it on my bookshelf in front of me. Like, yeah, great book. It's a great book. It's a fiction book. I'm big into fiction. So yeah, great book.
Nice.
Okay. Elegance of the Hedgehog.
Okay. Love it. Good answer. And finally, what's the best concert you have ever been to?
Oh, my first concert probably, which was Paul McCartney. I used to have the biggest crush on Paul McCartney. I still do. He's a little too old for me now, but he's like 90 or something. But no, I love Paul McCartney. I love the Beatles. That was my first concert. I went with my mom. And yeah, I loved it. I was like 9 or something, but it was great.
He puts on an amazing show for sure.
Puts on a good little show. Yeah.
Yep,
He's my first crush. He's my boy.
Nice. Beautiful.
Nice. Okay, you survived our last segment.
Nice. Guys, I'm sweating. You guys are making me like sweat and sweating at this time of night. Let me tell you.
Yeah, what time is it for you?
What is it for me?
9:30?
It's 9:30. It's 9:30. Yeah. Respectable time.
Yeah. It's a good time. Well, thank you, Iona, so much for joining us on the show. This has seriously been a lot of fun. Really appreciate you for coming on and sharing your wisdom and, just making us laugh, brightening our day.
Guys, that's so okay. Thank you for inviting me. I literally thought it was like a mistake when you invited me because I'm like definitely not cool enough for this. Thank you so much.
No, yeah, I was excited to have you on. So, yeah, Michael, do you want to say anything before I end it?
Nah, I think I'm good. I appreciate Iona. This was really fun, and hope we get to do it again sometime.
Hopefully. Michael, you know what I'm about to do. I'm about to go hit that follow button.
I know. Well, yeah, I hope so.
Michael
we'll
is hoping you will follow him after this. Please follow him. He needs another follower.
I'm not holding my breath.
Don't you worry. I'm about to slide right into those DMs, Michael. You keep those DMs open for me.
Let's go, Michael.
Yes.
All right. With that said, thank you all so much for tuning into this episode of the NFT Catcher podcast. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFT Catcher podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about the exciting world of NFTs. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really love what you're hearing, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and insights from the NFT space, be sure to follow us on all the socials at NFT Catcher Pod. You can follow Jennifer at Jennifer_pseudo and Michael at NFTicket. I'm your producer, Andy, and I'm at AJC254. Our theme song's by It's Just Los. We always appreciate your feedback and support, which helps us reach more people and bring you informative and engaging content about NFTs. We look forward to bringing you more great NFT content in future episodes. Thanks for listening. Peace.